Are you ready? Go!
Alright, yo, welcome back to Retro ReWire. My name is JJ and we're gonna be changing things up a bit. This is not a fluff video, this is not an in the hunt video, this is a game related video. And what I wanted to do is just show off old game advertisements from comic books. This is one that we're going to be taking a look at, and it's just kind of interesting to see, and I kind of want to just relive the hype and share the nostalgia with all of you. But I guess to get things underway, we're going to start with actually a pamphlet here. This is from 1995 for the Sega Saturn. Unfortunately, I don't have a scanner, and I guess I could take pictures of this, but I figured this would be a little bit easier. And let me get a little bit closer. I'm gonna put on my glasses here so I can kind of see, but check it out. All the marketing mumbo jumbo. And this is kind of like a pretty bold claim here. Let me get that a little bit closer. It says, there is no contest. Sega Saturn has the best games, period. Now that's definitely debatable, but the Sega Saturn did have a number of hits, a number of great games actually, and this is the system that I grew up with during the 32-bit generation. And I had a number of these games, and really like Daytona USA, Virtua Fighter, and Clockwork Knight even, as well as Panzer Dragoon, were games that kind of just sold me on the system. And then down below, you can see all the peripherals, all the add-ons that they were planning to release, and most of those did, all of those that got released. But as you can see here, plug in Sega Saturn and get blasted into an entirely new world of interactive entertainment. Pretty cool to see this. I think, like I mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention it, but I think I picked this up at a Sears way back in the day. But there's some contact information, and then down here, just, you know, titles that were at the time were in development. And then there's the fine print. You know, definitely feel free to pause throughout the video. But anyhow, let's go ahead and start underway. We'll start with this Terror, Incorporated Terror Inc., whatever. And I just want to show this real quickly. Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. These old comic books also tend to have a lot of movie advertisements. But anyhow, we have All-Star Challenge 2. This is for the original Game Boy. And I wish I could just scan these in, but you know, they're a little bit old. Here's another advertisement. Get Hooked. This is Peter Pan, and this is for the Nintendo, as you can see, and for the Game Boy. Kind of a fancy orange little box there by Sony ImageSoft. They produced a number of titles, and interestingly enough, this game was also released on Super Nintendo, Genesis, and the Sega CD. In fact, let me just set this aside here real quick. Here is the Genesis version, and as you can see, it's the same artwork, but definitely a cool game, although I think I prefer the music on the Super Nintendo a bit more. But then a few pages down, we got a bit of a heavy hitter here. Now this is 1992, this issue, and as you can see, we have Super Castlevania 4, and it's just kind of all like the major publications, or at least the ones they decided to rip apart. And for this ad, they actually didn't do that, but you know what I mean. And let's just see here, Action Adventure Game of the Year and Sound Achievement Award, and that's the Game Pro Reader's Choice. But yeah, pretty interesting to see this. Kind of a little bit of an interesting ad. And look at this. Satisfy your need for speed. It looks like Ferrari Grand Prix Challenge for the NES, Game Boy, and Genesis kind of took Need for Speed. Kind of a common little thing. But this is Flying Edge, and at the time, I remember that a lot of their games were so-so. They were just so-so. Anyhow, let's keep it moving. We got Death Head 2. Look at this freaking cover. Let's see what surprises they have for us here. But we have Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, the brain transplant for $39.99. And then this is, look at their little claim here. The world's first role-playing game, especially designed for entry-level players. So this is kind of interesting. I think the game in North America was billed under Final Fantasy, but elsewhere, at least in Japan, it had nothing to do with Final Fantasy. Here we have another Flying Edge game. Of course, it's Join the Marvel Dream Team. And then we have here, we have Spider-Man 2 for the Game Boy, Spider-Man and X-Men and Arcade's Revenge, and then Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six on NES, not Genesis, but kind of an interesting thing. Now, I did play the Super Nintendo game, and it's, for me, honestly, it's forgettable. But look at this. These were also really big back in the day. You kind of stare into this, and then like a little 3D image, optical illusion will surface. And all it says is Mallrats. And then here's a cartoon I remember way back in the day, Phantom 2040. Now, as you can see up at the top, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and Game Gear. And you could also get the VHSs. And I remember playing this game, and it wasn't actually too bad from what I remember. I actually rented it. I don't think I beat it, but I remember it wasn't a bad game. And this issue is from 1995. Anyhow, let's go with another one from 1995 with another movie advert, freaking Candyman. Here we go, more Spider-Man action. This is for Super Nintendo, as you can see, and Sega Genesis. This is just labeled Spider-Man. Maybe this was based off of the animation. And it's kind of interesting that it says down here, oh gosh, I'm all lost, disoriented, but Marvel Software there. I never actually played this one, but I do remember it being advertised, and it's a game that I probably would have liked to play. I still would like to play it. What am I talking about? And then here we have Road Rash 3 for the Sega Genesis. There's nothing quite like the feeling of nipple surfing on asphalt. Never played Road Rash 3 actually, but oh, this is kind of interesting. Again, not really game related, but I remember watching Reboot. It looks like they got a trading card set by Fleer Ultra. I wonder if those have any value nowadays. For the Game Gear, we had X-Men, the Game Master's Legacy. Now, the interesting thing about this one, if you see here in this screenshot, you actually get to play as Bishop, and that's usually a character, from my understanding, that back in the day you wouldn't really play as. But it looks like Gambit and Rogue are other characters, but definitely cool to see that. We have X Factor 97, now this issue 97, and this is from 1993, and then in the back we have an advert for X-Men, the Tiger handheld. I remember I had a few of those, and they were so-so. And then here's another one. The new game Genie for a Game Gear by Galoob. But here's another heavy hitter, at least for me. This is kind of cool to see. Freaking zombies ate my neighbors. I laughed, I cried, I screamed bloody murder. And those are, I think, just little mock quotes. But as you can see, we have the Sega Genesis version and the Super Nintendo. So hilarious to see this. And I'll put it up close so you guys can just, pause if you like. Now, this was developed by LucasArts, actually, and now I believe Disney holds the license. But anyhow, we're gonna go with Uncanny X-Men. Now, this one is issue 342 from 1997. And straight off in the back, we can see the advert for Sega Saturn's Scud, the disposable assassin, and it looks like it's kind of like a resume. And then it says available for employment down below here, starting November 96. And the interesting thing about this, and I just totally noticed because I never read the fine print as a child, but down here below, it looks like for more information or to order, you could call these numbers. And I totally never knew that. And because, I grew up in a small town in America, and sometimes we were just limited to a lot of the mainstream games, but it would have been nice to have been aware of such things. Not that I wanted a Scud, but anyhow, here's like a 2-page spread here. We got Virtual Cop 2 here, and then Virtual On 2 over on this side. And then it's kind of funny, the quote here, guns don't kill robots, cyber troopers with napalm bombs kill robots. And then over here, Virtual Cop 2, twice as lethal. I still own both of these games, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good overall. I think from the two, I definitely prefer Virtual Cop 2, but Virtual On is definitely no slouch. Anyhow, let's see what else. What other little treasures we have here. Here we go. This is Super Nintendo, Flex Some 16-Bit Muscle, Marvel Superheroes in War of the Gems. And I don't think I ever played this one. I did play the Capcom X-Men game, but never got around to playing this one. At least if I did, I no longer remember. I have no memory of it. But interesting little ad. And then the last one here is Incredible Hulk, The Incredible Hulk, The Pantheon Saga for Saturn and PlayStation. I would see this one in stores, though I never played it. I think it featured 3D environments with a digitized or a 2D Hulk. I don't know, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I don't know, I never played it. We have Stargate. Now this is at the very bottom. You can see Game Boy, Game Gear, Genesis, and Super Nintendo. And you know, I would never watch this on TV, but judging from the screenshots, it could be from the same people that developed the Star Wars games. I mean, that's the vibe that I'm getting. Not because of the genre, but just because of the visual style. Issue number 44 from 1995, and we have Comic Zone here. Now, the interesting thing about Comic Zone is if you look here, it says bonus CD soundtrack included. I wonder how many people still have this soundtrack with this game, and definitely interesting. And sometimes we forget, you know, the things that were included early on when these games were released. But I guess that's why it's good to look at these old issues for reference to some of these things. And Comic Zone is available for freaking every platform nowadays. Let's continue on. We're gonna be looking at a spectacular, The Amazing Spider-Man, and now this one is hype right here. Check out this. Mortal Kombat coming to leading video game systems September 93. It has all the characters save Shang Tsung and Reptile, but all the other main contenders are there. This was a big deal back then, man. I remember going to the arcade and everybody was just huddled around the Mortal Kombat cabinet. Anyhow, here we go. We have Gear Up, The Rage in the Cage, The War of the Webs, and The Battle of the Machines. 3 games for Game Gear by Flying Edge. Are these any good? I have no idea. This is for Bart's Nightmare. Again, Flying Edge. They had all the licenses back then, man. Now this was also released, I believe, on Super Nintendo, and I remember playing this one. In fact, I would often rent it from American Video. That was one of the places that I used to go. But interesting game. I remember that it was one of those frustrating games. But again, I guess here we go, another Simpsons game. We have on NES, SNES, and Genesis, Krusty's Super Fun House. I think I rented this like once. And again, Acclaim and Flying Edge duo. And then here, it says, hey kids, help out your old pal, Krusty the Clown. Rats have invaded my official Krusty Funhouse. So you're up against rats. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that game was also a little bit frustrating from what I remember. This one was kind of big where in the area that I was at, a lot of my friends and family would talk this one up, Super Smash TV. And as you can see here, it's for the Super Nintendo by Acclaim. Man, Acclaim was just pumping these games out. Anyhow, here we got a sports game. Extra Innings for the Super Nintendo, it's a hit. Another one by Sony ImageSoft. They were also heavily advertising in the pages of Marvel. Wow. Here's this interesting one by Konami. We have Axelay. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. And look, this is kind of taking the same style as that Super Castlevania 4 advert. It could be the hottest shooter ever made. That's pretty bold. And this is kind of funny, but back then they were just talking about how many colors would be displayed at once. But then more interestingly enough, here where my finger is at, look at the tip line. 70 cents per minute. That's kind of expensive. Oh, here we go. Right in the back. Let me just support it from the back. These things are old, like I said, but Super Off-Road for the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy. Now, one thing it says here, and the little thing, it says based on the #1 arcade game. I never actually saw this one in arcades, but definitely interesting. And then here we go. We have Beetlejuice for the Game Boy. And also down here, it's talking it up for the Nintendo. Now, I used to watch this cartoon way back in the day. This is a LJN game. They don't have the best reputation, but the game doesn't look too bad from the screenshots. I never played it. I never really had a Game Boy. For a time, I had a Game Gear. Oh, this is great. I remember seeing this one in stores, Tiny Toon Adventures for the Nintendo. We got Montana Max up there. I actually do have one Tiny Toons game. It's not that one, but it is this one here, Buster Busts Loose. I don't know if it's gonna focus. There we go. Here's one that I have no idea what this is about, but it's Monsters in My Pocket by Konami, and this is kind of a funny little tagline. There's something scary in the kitchen, and it's not your mom's tuna casserole. And see, look at this. Down here it says, free exclusive Konami monster inside. Here we go. Right in the back, we have a Justice League fighting game by Acclaim. But if you look at the Genesis, it's kind of hard to see, but Sunsoft. Now, Sunsoft is a very reputable developer. They had a lot of great games, so I wonder if this one was any good. But here we have Judge Dredd. I did play this one. Now, this is for both the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the Game Gear, and the Game Boy, for everything under the sun back in the day. I did play on the Super Nintendo, and I remember that it was so-so. Oh, here we go. There is something in this Wolverine issue. Wolverine of September '96. The new low fare to the third dimension, $99 for the Virtual Boy, and available at these fine stores, which most of these are no longer in existence, or they're just not the same anymore. Well, let's start from the top here. We have Mech Warrior for the Super Nintendo, and this is by Activision. Battles are won with bullets, wars are won with brains, so it looks like it might be like a strategy type of game. Here's one. This is kind of interesting. For Sonic the Hedgehog 3, you get a free Sonic CD, a free music CD if you include the coupon down below. And kind of interesting, gosh, this here, that's like a little placeholder cover. Let me just trying to get this off to the side. This is the actual cover that they went with. And it kind of looks like it's the same Sonic, it's just that they mirrored the image. But look at the price on that. $69.99. Holy cow. Oh, here's another heavy hitter. Freaking Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo. This was a freaking awesome game. And this was very customary of like the advertisements for Capcom back in the day to have like this little red border, especially for their Mega Man games. And you know, the X generation, the adventure is here for the first time on the Super Nintendo. Freaking awesome game. I have a lot of great memories with that game. And then the last here at the very end, we have now Genesis players can kick some real, and then like the marketing team, you could just fill it in. And then down here below, one of the highest rated Sega games of all time. Look at this, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, This Ain't No Game. And then down below, starts Friday, May 28th at theaters everywhere. And here we go, we got a 2-page spread for the Sega Genesis X-Men game here. Let me just get my fingers out of the way. It says, hear the sound razor sharp adamantium claws make as they extract their revenge. I remember playing this at a friend's house, and it was a freaking awesome game. And I wish I actually had it. And then here we go. We have the Turtles wouldn't trade these adventures for all the slime in Hollywood. We have the Manhattan Project on the NES, the Turtles 2 Back to the Sewers for the Game Boy, Hyperstone Heist for the Genesis, and Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo. And then again, look how they're just their hint line. They really want you to call, guys. Out of all of these, the only one I've played is the Super Nintendo Turtles in Time. In fact, I got my Super Nintendo around the time that this was released, and that was the first game that I rented at the rental shop. That, Turtles in Time, and the vanilla Street Fighter 2. Oh, those were the days. And then we have, in this game, it's either them or you, Soldiers of Fortune for the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. I think I did show this, but no, I didn't. But it's kind of like a top-down shooter like Smash TV, Total Carnage, and a few others. And here we go. This is what many of you saw. Or, I don't know, maybe if you did or not, but when confronted with danger, possums will often play dead. Now, many of you already know what it's gonna be. None other than, that's right, Rocket Knight Adventures. This one goes ballistic. And look at that. Now, this is a freaking awesome game. In fact, I have it right here. Still have it. This is a complete copy with the manual and all. But I don't have the free t-shirt there that they're kind of advertising. But yeah, oh, it's pretty interesting to see a lot of these adverts, and I just kind of wanted to share this stuff with all of y'all. I don't know, let me know what you think, but my name is JJ. Thank you for checking out Retro ReWire, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Ciao.